The Games with Names podcast host, 3-time Super Bowl champion Julian Edelman here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. I'm I come in here and
yes.
I'm more analyzing now you guys as professionals because I just signed with Fox. I'm doing the kickoff morning show.
That you are.
And so like the note taking, the preparation that you guys are doing,
Yes.
it's like
It's just not off the dome, Julian.
no, it's not.
You know what I mean? There's some, like, you didn't just come into games.
No.
You know what I mean? You were prepped. You're ready to go.
And still, like I did it inside the NFL the last 2 years,
Yes.
and Brandon Marshall would get so mad at me because I'd have my note cards and I'd have all my stats, and
What's going on?
He's like, dude, you just go out and throw it out there. I'm like, I feel nervous if I don't have my cards.
Did you tell him do your job? Did you just go full Belichick on him? What'd you do? Just tell him do your job, Brandon.
Nah, I let B do what you can't tell. B, you got to handle B.
So, you know, I don't see that Fox show because I'm on the air myself at the same time.
I know.
We're competitors right now.
It's
How
a
about
friendly
that? It's a friendly
competition.
It is, yes. Although,
I think we raise each other. You know, competition brings the best. I mean, that's what Bill Belichick used to harp all the time.
Yeah, is that right?
Competition makes the team better.
Have you ever seen anybody tune out Belichick?
Ooh.
Did that ever happen?
No.
Never, not once did you see somebody tune out Bill Belichick.
No, he's got an aura about him, and just through when you're around him, he's constantly testing you. He's constantly quizzing guys. He wants to know information. So everyone's like walking on thin ice when they're around Bill.
Is that right?
That's just how it is, especially if you're a younger player, newer in the organization. I mean, if you're a ball player that's been there and you've been making plays for, you know, a bunch of years, he treats you a little different, but, you know, he likes to have everyone kind of on edge when he walks by because he's testing you because it's pressure all the time.
Right.
You know, in the game, if you make a situation in practice or in the facility, when guys are always on, when you get to the game, that's what's preparing you. Like it's like Jedi mind tricks. He's always preparing you.
So what was your first meeting with him like ever?
Well, my first meeting with Bill, it was in OTAs, and I was catching punts. Kevin Falk was there, and he was a pro. And I was a quarterback in college, and I was like trying to learn how to catch the punts. And you know, when the ball turns over with the right-footed punter, there's like techniques that you have to learn. And I like muffed one in OTAs, and Bill comes over. He goes, "What do you do as a punt returner? Right when you get on the field?" I go, because Scotty O'Brien was our guy. I go, "Well, you count the guys?" He goes, "Yeah." And how do you catch the ball? And I go, with your hands. He goes, "No, with your feet. With your feet. If the ball turns over, you play it on your right chest. If it doesn't, you play it on your left chest." And he just like got it. And that was the first conversation I ever had with Bill. And then I didn't talk to him for like 3 years. But like that's what it was. Like,
were you confused with him saying with your feet but pointing to your chest?
Well,
I mean,
no,
but you
as
understood
a
what he
punt
meant.
returner, like when you start learning how to catch punts, you know, you always want to catch punt square because it gives you a 2-direction way to go. If you see the guys that olay it sometimes, you know, like in baseball, you olay it. When you catch it on a side, then you're basically telling the coverage unit that you can only go one way. So when you catch it with your feet and you can judge the punt with your feet, it gives you a two-way go. So like it was a great coaching point, and he's very, you know, he loves special teams.
That's his
called plays in there.
Right. When Mike Mayock, who I worked with forever
Baltimore
in a day,
Colts, right?
Well, that's where he got his initial start, like way back in the day with Ted Marchibroda. But when Mayock showed up to the Giants, Belichick was his special teams coach, you know, and so Bill I mean, did you hear me we waxed rhapsodic about long snapping for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, like that's Bill, obviously. But did you not return a punt in the Hall of Fame game? Right? Didn't you for a touchdown? Didn't you take
it
one
wasn't
in
the Hall
house?
of Fame game.
Which one
it
was
was at it was my first punt return at Lincoln Financial, I believe, August 19th. First preseason
as a
game.
rookie?
As a rookie.
Yeah. So then what did Bill come up find you or no?
I think he gave me like an arm shrug or like, yeah, the way Joel's. And then like he's back on. He's a robot. You know, like he's not human. He likes to, like, no emotion. He's got a job to do, and that's how he thinks. And it's not like, don't take it personal. He's literally thinking about the next situation right after. So, like, he's seen so much football. He's seen great plays. He's seen bad plays. And it's always about the next play with Bill. And then after the game, then he'll give you some flowers, but like then we're on to the next week, and that's just how he is.
That's why he's chasing down Don Shula. I've got Julian Edelman here on the Rich Eisen Show. So let me just ask you the hot button topic question in New England. Do you think Belichick's coaching for his job with Robert Kraft, Julian?
I think that's ridiculous. I don't. I mean, he had Tom Brady for 20 years. We didn't go to a Super Bowl 10 years after 2004. Mm-hmm. You know, this stuff takes time. The hardest thing in the world is to find a quarterback for an NFL franchise. I mean, look at the 49ers. They haven't had a long-term quarterback since Steve Young. They've had all these guys that come in. They've had, Kaepernick. They had Alex Smith. Was he good? Was he not good? They haven't had a long-term guy. And that's what, like, everyone in the that's everyone in the league right now. It's the biggest crapshoot. If you have a quarterback, you can win. And right now, they're going to be very competitive. They're still trying to mold Mac. They're trying to bring things around him. I think Billy O'Brien being there is a huge addition. It allows Bill to have his mind on the whole team, unlike last year where you could tell he was probably in the offensive meetings when you have, Matty P and Joe Judge.
Well, that's the issue, okay? And that's where the hot seat comes in, because Belichick was the one who did, in that crucial second year for Mac Jones, bring those guys in. And the theory is that Kraft's like, we're going to Bob. We're going to bring him back. B.O.B.'s coming back because I think we can get him from Alabama, and you're going to call him the offensive coordinator, and we're going to put out a 2-line press release to announce that, along with Gerard Mayo staying. That's where people start talking about hot seat here, that there's some embers. You don't believe it, though.
I can't see it. I can neither confirm nor can I deny.
No, I'm not saying you do.
It's a tough situation. I mean, this is an impatient era of football. I mean, if you can't put Bill Belichick on the hot seat. This guy's a brilliant mind. Yeah, he got caught up last year. I think he got caught in a pickle where he didn't think Josh was probably going to leave, and then it happened. Didn't have what he had going forward, and he's like, screw it. We're gonna try this out, and it backfired on him. Coach. Coach is the first one to say last year was a train wreck. Mm-hmm. But, you can't put him on the hot seat.
Julian Edelman here on the Rich Eisen Show. Fox Sports, Game with Names podcast, 3-time Super Bowl champion here on the Rich Eisen Show. Your Super Bowl prediction, what do you got for me?
Super Bowl prediction?
Yes, I need to know. Somebody who knows what it takes to get there, knows what it takes to win one with his heart, his soul, his hands, his knees, damn near every body part. You've used them all to win rings. What do you got for me? Julian Edelman.
I like Philadelphia coming out of the NFC.
You do?
Yeah, they have such a great roster. Jalen Hurts has only gotten better every year since he's played football. The AFC is where it gets a little weird. It gets, we watched last night with the Kansas City Chiefs. They're starting to run into the problems of being America's number one target. Mm-hmm. When you start winning a lot of games, people don't realize guys want to get paid. You lose a guy here, injuries. Like some of the best teams that I played on, we didn't win the Super Bowl. We got hurt. Like I remember in 2014 we won the Super Bowl. 2015 we started 9-0. Week 7, Nate Soldier blows out his arm. He's on IR. Dion Lewis the next week. I break my foot, and 2 weeks later, and there's a lot of feng shui that has to go. Mm-hmm. For a team to go on a run, and it gets harder and harder, especially to repeat. So, I'm going to go with the field other than Kansas City just because, we saw last night. Right. That was tough.
But you're saying the field doesn't get you a podcast, doesn't get you a job on Fox Sports, pal. You got to give me one. You got to name one. You got to put your marker down. What do you got?
I'm going with Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills.
I think this is their year. They have to go out. Their window is cutting short, and I don't love the preseason friction that they had with Diggs, but I think once the season starts, they start winning some games. Winning cures everything, and hopefully, they got Damian Harris. They can start running the ball, taking some of that weight off of Josh Allen as a runner, and finding ways to win without Josh having to go out and be the guy. Mm-hmm. So I think that they have a huge opportunity this year. I like them.
Who wins it all then in Vegas?
I'm going with Philadelphia. I just think their roster, if they stay healthy, and that's the biggest thing for all these teams, you got to stay healthy because, I wouldn't watch. I would have said the 49ers. Mm-hmm. I love the 49ers and what they've done. And I went and watched them against the Raiders. They practiced this preseason over in Vegas together. And I for the Niners, the first, I think September, mid-October is going to be a learning period of how they're going to learn to win. Mm-hmm. Because, Brock Purdy, he's only 4 months out of a UCL. This is a Tommy John surgery. The kid, I was watching him, and yeah, it's part of the rehab process to go out there and throw, but he didn't look like he had his arm yet, which it will get better. Anyone who knows injuries, you don't have that endurance strength when you're coming off something that big, especially as a thrower. So I feel that teams are going to pack the middle of the field and dare him to go and throw outside the numbers, which I don't know if he has that yet. I think maybe so. That's the only reason I'm not going with them. But I think Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, he's a beast. They have a great formula on how to win. They control games. They have a great run game. They have great play calling. They have a great play action to Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. They got really key players on the outside that can make plays in crucial situations, and they got a defense that's stacked.
Julian Edelman here on the Rich Eisen Show. I know the Raiders don't want to be known as Patriots West, but, coach, GM, the quarterback, owner, right?
Owner.
Don't forget.
Is it
it's still Mark Davis, co-owner.
Majority owner.
Minority owner.
Minority.
Tommy. So, how do you think that's going to work out? Do you think Jimmy G is going to be the answer? McDaniels tells Derek Carr, we're done now. He's totally made this team in his image. What do you got for me?
I think Jimmy G is playing that Alex Smith role that when he went to Kansas City, it's kind of that buffer quarterback until you find your guy. That's what Jimmy G is. He knows the system. If he stays healthy, we all have seen the numbers. The guy's a 75% winning percentage. When he's healthy.
Right.
The guy can win football games. He knows McDaniel's system. He's gonna go in there and he's gonna do it how they want it, which I think they can go out and be productive. Are they gonna go win a Super Bowl this year? It's gonna be tough. They don't have the defense. I think their secondary's a little light. But they're going out there, and when I went and watched them, they said the year before they had 13 of their guys. This year, they said they had 30 of their guys.
What do you mean by their guys?
Their guys, well, you get a new regime, you got to bring in your own players, your guys that mold to your system, trying to change the culture.
And Derek Carr wasn't one of those guys?
I guess not. They had to move on. They felt like it was time to move on.
Sure.
But that's what it takes. It takes time to build these things. You can't just go in if you don't have a quarterback and just build a team from ground up. That doesn't happen. The owner has to have some patience. They got to believe in the system.
Davis or Brady? Who are you referring to at the owner?
Davis is still the guy.
Okay.
But I bet Tommy's got some say there.
I was about to say,
you know who they hired over there? Alex Guerrero.
Okay.
He's taking care of Jimmy G.
Okay.
You hear about that? Anyone hear about that?
Yeah. I was unaware, but I'm sure.
Breaking news.
Yeah, how did they get in touch with Guerrero?
I don't know. I think they knew. He knows
somebody
the
else
owner.
Number? Somebody
he got the owner.
How do you think Brady is going to be in ownership? What do you think?
I think it'll be spectacular. Anything he does, he's spectacular at. And that's the truth, because he creates stories in his head. For anything.
What do you mean?
We all seen Brady 6. The guy's crying. He had 3 Super Bowls when they recorded that thing. The guy's crying with long hair.
Really long hair.
About 6 guys that were drafted before him. I mean, what do we like? All right, Tom, you can move on. But that's what those ultra competitors have. That's what ultra competitors have. Like, look at the Michael Jordan doc. Yeah. When you watched him, like, these guys, they fabricate these stories to motivate them because they've played so much ball, whether it's, Jordan in basketball or Tom, you got to pull from something. And that's what the ultra competitor like Tom Brady and Michael Jordan, they do. They come up and they fabricate these stories and they believe it. They believe it.
So when he said, which Super Bowl was that? Where no one believes in us, and nobody like.
It was after they beat the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, nobody believes in us. He said that before going off to
play the Falcons.
Yeah,
in Atlanta to play the Rams.
Yeah, nobody believes. It's just like I sat here. We were on the air, and I'm like, what?
No one believed in us, Rich.
Come on, Julian.
Everyone thinks
you didn't
think we were ring under the sun. How many yachts were you water skiing?
We were going on the full blood moon into Kansas City at the AFC champ. You did not think we were going to win that game.
3 straight third downs, 3 straight third and 10s.
You did not think we were going to win that. No one thought we were going to win that game.
But to say no one believes in us, come on.
He believes that.
Did you? Did you believe it at the time?
Of course. Of course. Come
on.
Honestly, that was probably one of my favorite wins of my career.
The one against the Rams?
No, the one against the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. In the AFC Championship, on the road, playing the young gun team that's sexy, that's hot, that's coming. They're lighting up scoreboards. We're this old team, kind of old school football run, play at. Like, that was my favorite win because we had this aura with my generation of Patriots where we couldn't win on the road. We went to Denver 2 years, 13, 15, lost AFC Championship twice. So, and we always had to hear Bill talk about, when the 14-2 Chargers.
Do the voice. Come on, do the voice.
I don't know. I don't remember what he said. I don't have it. But he would always talk about
you guys.
Look, guys. Troy Brown. He's over here stripping guys for footballs. We got to do it on the road. He'd always talk about those road wins. Remember that? Remember when Tom threw the interception in San Diego, and Troy ripped it out,
yeah.
And then they went on and won that. I've seen that play so many goddamn times.
Belichick would just show it to you?
Whenever we go on the road on the playoffs, he's like, this is how you have to start. This is what you have to do. Big players have to make big plays in certain situations. Things aren't always going to go right, but this is what we have to do.
He told us.
And he returned a punt that game, I believe.
He told a story.
Brown did everything.
He's told a story, Belichick, when we did the NFL 100 show, saying that he would show teams about being situationally smart when there's a fumble for defenses to know if there's a fumble and the clock's running, you've got to make sure that you're ready for the next play if there's some sort of quick snap that's coming. And he would always show Steve Young doing it against the Giants back in the day with Jerry Rice. There was a fumble and they ran back to the line of scrimmage and then Jerry Rice was wide open. And I thought to myself, that's why he shouldn't be on the hot seat. The Peter, like
Peter
get back.
Call.
Right, just
Peter situation.
The guy has an encyclopedic knowledge of the game from the last 40 years that no other coach can kind of touch. I know a lot of other coaches are prepared, and a lot of coaches can. Honestly,
it's true. I mean, he's
get out of here with getting rid of him. That's nuts.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And to get to the, I got a little story. Anytime we were in lunch line, at the cafeteria, I grew up a huge Niners fan. We all know that.
Okay.
My dogs were Dwight and Montana. Those were my 2 dogs, Dwight and Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell Bill that in the lunch line after 8 years of getting comfortable around him where I could talk to him. And so I go up and I go, you know what, Coach? If Roger Craig didn't fumble that goddamn ball, we'd have 3 Super Bowls in a row. He goes, look, Jules, all you got to do is knock the Niners and the West Coast off their timing. They can't even hit anyone in practice. They don't even let their receivers get touched. I would fire him up so bad when I would bring that up. When I would bring up Niners stuff, those get out of here. This is soft. That's what he used to say. I mean, he respected.
Charles Haley was soft.
He respected him.
Yeah.
He respected him.
No, I know that.
Matt
Of course.
Dillon.
But that was the
But
thing with when you hear about the West Coast teams, you know, like at practice, everything's a step movement. They have to have their timing. And Bill, like, he hated that. We would go and practice, and if there was a team that had good DBs, he would go to our practice squad guys and he would tell them, hold our receivers. Hold us. Because you got to try to make it like the game. And like, I just always remember, like, man, why couldn't we have a West Coast coach where, like, in practice we're not getting held? You know what I mean?
We're not getting held.
Like, damn.
The
Crazy contract.
Games with Names podcast. Tell me the construct. I know it, but tell everyone about what's it
Games
about.
with Names. You know, like, we all talk about the GOAT, greatest of all time. What about the GOG, greatest of all games?
Okay, I like it.
I like that.
You know, everyone's got.
I like the logo. Very 70s, very 80s. I like it.
Yeah, we like that. You know, we
I like it.
a little vintagey.
I do it. Like it.
No, it's a fun podcast where we go and we talk about a historic game with someone that is involved in that on that team and get their inside perspective. We've had some awesome guests. It's been so fun. We talk about the pop culture of that time in there. We dive into everything, and we're on a mission to find the greatest game of all time.
What's number one at present?
Right now, what's number one? Well, we just had
That's tough.
18 and one giant loss was the
Who came on to talk about that?
Teddy Bruschi and Eli Manning.
And varying perspectives, one would think, on that game.
Yeah, and it was honestly, I gotta thank you, Brew, for coming on, and it was his first time ever talking about a loss.
No
and that's so hard to ask talent, someone that's like, hey, can you come on my podcast and talk about the game you lost?
The worst thing ever.
Because that predated you, obviously.
Predated me.
Big time.
And, you know, Brew being the cat that he is, you know, just mentally tough, came on and talked about it with some poise. And
bet.
while Eli was out there, you know, which is my favorite Manning, of course. Eli's my favorite Manning. Peyton knows that as well. Even though I think I'm going to go to Arch. I'm teetering to Arch.
I like it.
Nice.
You know, I like this new little Arch.
Julian Edelman here as we're back on the radio program, the Games with Names podcast. It's a great show. Everyone should listen to it.
What game are you going to come on and talk about?
Do I reveal it or do we have to hold off? Because I've already been, I think I'm going to save it for when I come on. I believe we're going to find a date in the next week or two.
Nice.
You won't be pleased with it.
Oh,
That's all I'm going to say.
You are a Jets fan.
Yes, sir. You won't be pleased with it. So you could,
I am too.
I know you could probably narrow it down since there were so
fumble?
few
Butt
of
fumble?
them.
Butt fumble?
No, that wasn't my favorite game. That's, by the way, it's not there's no name in that. It's Games with Butt.
Oh.
Which is not the name of his podcast.
Sorry.
Games with Crack.
Yeah.
It's not part of it. It's not the podcast.
I already know where you're going.
Okay.
We'll leave it for the
All I'm just saying is that I can't. No, I just said I can't wait to come on your pod. That's all I'm saying.
I can't wait to have you on my pod.
Very good. That's a
Thank
little
you.
breadcrumb. All right, Julian Edelman here on the program. Yes. We have not done this before, which is having somebody here at the same time play the win-loss game for a team as somebody else who's guessing win or loss week to week to try and figure out the final total of wins and losses for a team. We've never had it done simultaneously.
Okay, I'm not going to do any pre-math
At
in
all.
my head.
No pre-math.
So, like, it's
Be
just
careful.
going to
You
come
can
off
get
the
caught up.
cusp.
You can get caught up.
Are we doing spreads or are we doing win-loss?
Win-loss.
Excuse me, sir.
Win-loss.
I'm a National Football League employee.
win-loss.
I don't know what you mean by spread other than
Can't swim in
food.
those waters.
I'm a Jewish man. So are you. You know what spreads are.
Yeah, a little
Schmears.
nosh. A little nosh.
nosh. That's not the schmear we're talking about here. There's no schmear on this.
Schmear's
It's just
delicious.
straight out win-loss.
Here we go.
Give NFL Films music. Julian Edelman and Chris Brockman simultaneously playing the win-loss game for the New England Patriots 2023 season. You go first, Chris, and
I don't
then
wanna do
Julian
this.
will chime in. Week 1, Philadelphia Eagles, win or loss?
The loss.
Julian?
Brady Day.
Is he playing?
Brady Day.
Is he playing in the game?
What do we got?
Taking Philly.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 losses to start. Home for the Dolphins, week 2, Chris Brockman.
Win.
Julian Edelman.
I'm taking The Patriots.
That's two.
They split. They split.
Okay, very good. At the New York Jets, week 3, win or loss, Chris?
50 years of being losers. Win.
Oh, boy.
Definitely. They're going to win this game. Like, people are on this. Are we have a time limit or something?
No,
or we can talk?
Yeah, it's
Is
not
it fire?
It's just rapid fire. It's not like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire where you sound out your answer before I ask if it's your final one. I'm not Regis. You know what I mean? Here we go.
Phone a friend?
Well, you are his friend. He's phoning.
we're
At the
together.
Dallas Cowboys, Chris, week 4, win or loss?
Cowboys are good. Loss.
Julian? Julian?
I'm going to go with... I'm taking the Pats, bro.
Win.
I'm not with.
All right.
I'm not with.
Here we go. New Orleans Saints, week 5 at home. Chris, win or loss?
Win.
Julian, win or loss?
See, I think they're going to have a big win against Dallas. They're going to lose this one.
It's called a letdown. Okay,
Letdown.
you're both at the same mark. 3-2 at Vegas, taking on McDaniels.
Win.
Julian?
Win.
Okay.
Yeah, they have bad blood. But last year,
4-2 home for the Bills. Chris?
Josh Allen has our number. Loss.
Julian?
that's gonna be a loss.
Okay. At the Dolphins, week 8. Chris?
Weird stuff happens in Miami. Loss.
Julian?
Yeah, the heat. It's tough. This is going to be an October game, and it's going to be a little chill in the air in Boston. You go, and it's going to be 93 degrees with 80% humidity. Never does well for the Patriots.
Washington Commanders, week 9. Win or loss, Chris?
Win.
Julian?
Win.
Okay. Now you're in Germany. I'm calling this game. By the way.
Which one?
Week 10, Patriots and Colts in Germany. Chris?
Guten Tag. Win.
Julian?
Smashing.
Win.
Deflate gate people that try to throw us in there.
Thank you.
Anytime we play Indy. And I love Indy fans because I'm a big Pat McAfee guy.
Yes, we all are.
But win.
At the Giants, off the bye, Chris.
Wait, are we 6-4?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 4. Yes.
Win.
Julian?
Belichick off a bye is usually good, but I think Dayball is going to have a little. There's always that New York Giants. We played them in the regular season when I was there in like 11. They beat us. They always have our number. I think Giants are going to win that.
Okay,
game.
we only have 90 seconds left. We got a sprint. Home for the Chargers, Chris.
Loss.
Julian?
Win.
At the Steelers on a Thursday night, Chris.
Huge game. Win.
Julian?
I think that's going to be tough. It's tough. Loss. That's
Home
a
for the
loss.
Chiefs on a Monday night, Chris.
Loss.
Julian?
Loss.
At the Denver Broncos on Christmas Eve. I'm calling that game too, Chris.
I'll be there. Win.
Julian?
I'm taking a win on that.
At the Buffalo Bills on New Year's Eve, Chris.
Win.
Julian?
At Buffalo. Is Gronk going to be in the stand?
Julian?
Loss. They're gonna
Home
get
for the
swept.
Jets. Final game.
What is my record?
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 7.
Win.
Julian?
Win. What I have?
Chris has 10 and 7. Julian is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 8.
9 and 8. I mean, it's
Okay.
a building year. They could sneak in the playoffs.
Good sneak. Defense will be good.
There you go.
And I got the blessing from Coach to he goes Jules, look, don't be a homer on TV, bro. If you have to,
Is that what he told you?
he literally told me that. So, and I feel like I can. He goes, if you have to MF me, if I'm doing something stupid, call me out. He said that to me.
Games with names.
I was
where you
terrified.
Get your podcast.
I still.
You're terrified.
Like, Coach, I can't do that. He goes, look, Jules, you'll be on TV for 2 years if you're a homer.
I love that Belichick told you, go ahead and fire away if you have to.
Coach, I'm still not going to. Coach, I won't. Okay. And then he goes, look, Edelman, do I have to turn on the TV every day and see you impersonating me? Just shut up. He said that to me too.
Really?
He had a little smile on that, so I knew where we stood. I knew where we stood because he gave me a blessing.
Well, I mean, it's a great imitation. It's very spot on.
I literally sat and watched him for 13 years, and I was in the first row, and I would just sit and watch him and learn his mannerisms. And I always wondered if his hand hurt because he'd try to get a point off and he'd hit the podium so hard.
Is that where Nick Saban gets it from?
Has to.
Saban's pounding they
Yeah. They must calcify that part of their hand. Because coaches, especially old coaches, they always try to ruffle with the boys, when they do an example on the field of how to shed someone. You'll see an old coach slam a guy and coach, what are you doing? They really want to show their strength.
I love it. Great job. Thanks for coming on, Julian Edelman. By the way, that's in our bathroom.
You got to do your job.
You do.
But what he always says, everyone says do your job, but he would always say, you got to do your job consistently.
Oh, really? There's an extra word? I didn't know that.
I
didn't know that. But that's in our bathroom. So be careful.
Everyone's got to do their job. And if we all do our job collectively, a team, we will do well.
And I think that is a life lesson. That's why it's in my bathroom.
That's why, look at this studio. I'm impressed every time I come here.
Bless you, sir.
You should come more.
Yes, that's very good. Good point. Come back very soon.
We got to.
Everybody check out Games with Names, the podcast that I'll be on next week. Gronk's next too, right? Gronk's coming in too?
Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, sure.
Gronk's coming.
Screw it. Okay,
Gronk's
very
on.
good. Julian Edelman, at Edelman11 on Twitter and Instagram, right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.